Hi, I'm Melisa with MaKa Movement, and today we'll be working on a short sequence for anyone that's dealing with some hip issues. So a lot of women end up with this kind of hip displacement. We end up being really flexible in our hips because we have to give birth. So naturally, I think we end up more flexible. And then sometimes the head of the femur just gets a little loose in the acetabulum, or it just doesn't quite it doesn't have this smooth rounding in the joint that it's supposed to have. So we end up with some hikes and some shifts and some rotation. And it's really important, especially for yogis, for us to be really aware of where the weight is and how we're doing our postures so that we can modify them so that we can protect our hips. So instead of having these open, expansive, foot behind the head postures, there are times when we really need to bring it in and to tighten all the muscles so we can stabilize our hip joints as opposed to opening them and loosening them. Okay, so to do that, we are going to do sun salutations, Surya Namaskar A, with the block between our legs. Now, I like to do lots of things now with blocks between my legs because of this issue, because of this hip disorder. So even things like squats, which we'll be doing, little Utkatasana's, fierce poses. But the sun salutations are a way for you to keep everything in alignment so that we make sure that a knee doesn't come in. What tends to happen is that a knee is going to want to come in, my hip is going to hike out to the side, and then it creates all of these imbalances from the ankle all the way up to my cervical spine. Okay, so I know I'm not alone. I know there are many of us out there that have this, and this is great for anyone, even if you don't have any hip issues, okay? It's a good exercise, a good way to practice the alignment of our flow, of our sun salutations and our postures. Okay, so it's still samasthiti, it's still this equal standing, but our feet are apart. Inhale, arms up, let your palms touch, look up. Exhale, fold forward, dive forward, swan dive. Flat palms, the fingers slide outside your hands if possible, and your head comes all the way down. Inhale, look up, half lift. Here you can come onto your fingertips. Some people prefer to slide their fingers forward, and that's fine as well too. But lengthen your spine, draw your belly in, and then exhale, flatten those hands, spread your fingers pretty wide, hop back. So now we can't step back because we have a block between our legs, right? Shift your weight forward slightly. That's gonna put you in the right shoulder position to lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana, okay? Now inhale, pull forward, upward facing dog. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. Exhale, curl your toes. Lift your hips, downward facing dog. So here in down dog, the block is still in between your inner thighs. Keep pushing on the block. Keep reaching your sits bones to the sky, spreading your butt cheeks wide, and breathe. 2, 3, 4. Slide your shoulders away from your ears, and 5. Look forward, bend your knees, get nice and light, engage your core, float forward, half lift. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, bring your arms up, palms touch. Exhale, samasthiti. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. So weight shifts forward from your plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3. You're looking toward your belly button. 4, hollowing it out. And 5, look forward, bend your knees, float forward, half lift. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale your arms up, palms touch. Exhale, samasthiti. Okay, again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Head comes down. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, float back. From here, shift forward slightly. You're looking for a 90-degree bend in the elbows, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Squeeze your shoulder blades back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sits bones wide. Again, we don't want to see our heels. Keep reaching them to the floor, but make sure you can't see them. 2, 3. And here's a good time to check out your knees. Look at your knees. Engage those knees. like you're lifting up on your kneecaps. You can check out your ribs. This is sometimes when I can notice if there's rotation going on, because one rib is popping out more than the other. 5, look forward, bend your knees, float forward, half lift. It's much harder to float with the block there too. Exhale, fold. Inhale, your arms up, palms touch, look up. Exhale, samastitihi. We're doing that one more time. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, look up. Float forward, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, samastitihi. Okay, so I did it 4 times. 4 times kind of gets that breath really going, and every time we're getting more length in our hamstrings, and it just feels good. So sun salutations, I love them. They're my favorite thing to do. 10 every day, every single day, if you can. Just gets you feeling good. Okay, I'm not moving the block. I'm just facing you. Block is still here, squeezing. My second toe is facing forward, okay? So what we're looking for, a mirror helps. If you have a full-length mirror or even a part-length mirror and you can see what your hips are doing, I want you to look. So look at yourself, but listen to me, okay? So take your arms up, just slide your shoulder blades back, draw your ribs in. So your hands are just floating here. They're not working really hard. They're just like hanging out in space, so they're out of the way so you can see your hips. And then just sit back into this little squat. Okay, so naturally for me, right now with my body, my right knee wants to come in, my left hip wants to hike out to the side. So I have to work really hard to keep those things, knee in alignment, hip stays still, shoulder blades stay back, my weight's in my heels, I can still wiggle my toes, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I'm squeezing the block, getting those adductors to work, but I'm not letting my knees come in and buckle toward each other. Stand tall, lower down. Okay, so again, arms up, bend your knees, sit your weight back, make sure you can wiggle your toes. And then check, sometimes this is gonna happen. Our toes are gonna come out, right? So second toe faces forward. Stand up, lower your hands down. So another thing you're looking for is the body. We don't want our body, as I bend my knees, I don't wanna pitch and hinge forward. I really wanna sit back. Can still wiggle my toes. And stand up, lower down, again, up. Wiggle and up, good. One more time, bend those knees. And then up, lower down. Okay, so modifications. Warrior 1 is a great pose, right? Warrior 1 is closed hips. So here we'll be nice and closed. Heels are in alignment, back foot is angled out, but my stance is much shorter than it would normally be. Okay, so I bend my knee still till it's over my ankle, but my back leg does not come back very far. Arms come up, shoulder blades down. I look at my thumbs, I draw my ribs in, draw my belly in, hold here. 1, 2, push down into the back pinky toe of your left foot. 3, or whatever that back foot is. 4, and 5. Now open to warrior 2. So here's where things get tricky with hips. When we start to open up our hips, when we're working hard to keep them closed and controlled, if I come too wide in my warrior, I'm gonna end up overstretching. And I don't want to overstretch. Right now I just want tight and control. So I focus on lifting my pelvic floor, pulling everything in, still bending my knee until it's over my ankle. I'm still working my arms. Okay, shoulder blades squeeze back and together, and I look over my middle finger. Belly pulls in. Imagine yourself just rooting up, getting tall. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now straighten your legs. Just pivot your feet to the other side. So we'll come into warrior 2 on the other side. Same short stance. Heels are in alignment. Back foot is angled. Keep the shoulder blades down, look over your middle finger. This is about breathing and focus now, not about opening the hips. 1, in this situation today. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're coming into warrior 2. So here I square my hips. Keep bending your knee. It stays bent. Push into the back pinky toe of your back foot. Arms up, shoulder blades down. Virabhadrasana 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Straighten your leg, arms come out to the side. Bring your toes in, just slightly. Hands at your waist. Inhale, little back bend. Exhale as you hinge forward. So I'm not hinging too far right now. I'm gonna leave my hands at my waist, but I wanna lengthen through my spine. So fold, engage your quads, lift up on your kneecaps. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale as you come up, heel toe your feet together. Okay, poses to be careful of, to be wary of, are lunges. Anjaneyasana, a foot comes back, the back heel is lifted. We're highly unstable. People tend to get really low. It's fine when we're working on hip opening and lengthening those hip flexors for a lot of poses, but when you're working on establishing tight control and maintaining stability in your pelvis and hips, then we would want to avoid this or take it into a really short stance, okay? Arms could come up, they could stay here. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now Virabhadrasana 3. So here I'm gonna keep my hips square. I'm taking my hands onto a block as opposed to reaching them forward so that I can stay stable. Front foot faces straight on, back leg raises. Here, really focus on keeping those hips square. Shoulder blades back and your toes face the floor. 2, little bit of a back bend. 3, 4, back foot is flexed, really active, and 5, bend your knee. Good, I'm gonna carry the block with me, turn around, face the other way, Anjaneyasana, so here's lunge. But you do what feels good. You don't have to stay in a lunge, or it can be a really high lunge. There's no point in overstretching something that doesn't need to be stretched. Okay, so Virabhadrasana 3, same thing. You take your hands to your block, you raise your back leg up. You're focusing on keeping your hips really square toward the floor, flexing that back foot, shoulder blades down your back, little spinal extension. And 5. Bring your feet together, roll from the bottom of your spine up. Okay, now something that's worked for me, we do a lot of this lotus pose, has a lot of external rotation. So normally in lotus, we would bring the right foot into the crease and then the left. Now when we end up with hip instability, lately I have preferred hero pose. It keeps my knees together, keeps my hips nice and stable. So you can always take a block and sit it underneath your bottom so that you're upright. Heels come in really close so that they're touching you, but then I don't have any of this external rotation of the hips. So that's what we're trying to avoid right now, is this lateral rotation, okay? And medial rotation. We really want nice alignment. So this is a nice, comfortable position just to sit and meditate, to focus on your breathing. So engage your pelvic floor, lift all the way up. Jalandhara Bandha is engaged so that's your throat lock. Nod your chin, look toward your nose, breathe. And inhale up. Very nice. Okay, when in doubt, ask your teacher. Ask your teacher, ask your doctor, modify, listen to your body. So if everyone else in class is doing a totally different pose, it's okay. You do what's right for your body on that day. That's essential, all right? Nice work, yogis and yoginis, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.